got 3 minutes by that clock.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
My name is Taylor Raynor, and I'm a candidate for the New York State Assembly of the 18th District. I was raised in Hempstead and educated in Uniondale. And because of the incredible education that I received here at Uniondale, I was able to graduate from high school at 16 years old and attend my dream college, Spelman College. And my major was psychology because I love humans. I love humans. I feel like we all have so many gifts. And one of my greatest gifts while I was working in Uniondale was community service. So I served on several, boards, organizations. I was president of about 8 clubs at Uniondale. I was the voice of Uniondale. And Uniondale is where my heart was ignited for community service. So after Spelman, I went to a doctoral program, and then my mother became ill, and I moved back up to Long Island. It was here in Long Island that I received my master's in industrial organizational psychology from Hofstra University, and I was reintroduced to my community. And I looked around my community and I said, this is not where I imagined this beautiful community would be, after I returned home from college. So I said, maybe one day, I'll make a run for mayor. But I realized I can't wait. You all have invested so much in me. You all have invested so much in my education, and I want the opportunity to be your voice in Albany. I want the opportunity to close some amazing, just huge gaps that we have in our district. Our school districts are suffering. Our roads are horrible. We have issues with violence. We have issues with idle time for our youth. And during this campaign process, I was able to meet a lot of you. I was able to meet a lot of organizations.
1 minute left.
I was able to meet a lot of organizations and community leaders who are here, who've been holding pretty much sandbags against the community really falling to where it could. And I would like the opportunity to collaborate with each and every one of you, be accessible to each and every one of you. Have you have a number to call and someone answer, or an email where you have an issue and I work with you to resolve that issue until it's fruition, until you say it's 100% resolved. I think that there's been a problem with a lack of collaboration from our elected officials, and I would like to let you know that with my background and my psychological expertise, I can work with most people and I will make things happen and this community will be better, but I need your help. So Thursday, September 13th, please, for all my Democrats registered in District 18, please go to the polls and vote for Taylor Raynor. Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions?
Questions?
I've yet to hear your platform. I hear you saying you want to collaborate with others, but tell me more about what you would like to do, where your ideas are. I haven't heard one yet.
All right, so we are working on that. There will be something released soon, but since we're here, my platform is called Excellence for the 18th, and that platform encompasses 3 pillars. The first pillar is excellent education and training for all. I want to make sure that from our high school seniors to our senior citizens, everyone has options to be educated and trained, learn new trades, because I feel like when we invest in our community, they turn around and they invest back into the community. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is community beautification. As I walked around and I asked each and every person that I met, what is one thing that we can improve in our community? The major issue were the roads, the zombie houses, code enforcement or lack thereof. So these are things that are really important because we need our community to reflect all of the work that we invest in, and it does not right now. And then the third pillar is health as wealth. And there will be a lot of initiatives underneath that. So those are the pillars, and they'll be, developed and more released very soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a local resident, and I would like to ask a question. You're a registered Democrat today, and are you permitted to vote in the primary on the 13th of September?
No.
I've changed my party. There was a mishap when I was rendered inactive in the system because I was away educating myself in another state. So when I went to fill out the registration form, for whatever reason I forgot to check a party box. So no, I am not a registered Democrat. as of right now, and no, I cannot vote in this primary.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Raynor, one thing I saw in one of your pieces of literature, you referred to East Garden City. It does not exist.
Yes, I know, and that was an oversight. I know East Garden City does not exist.
Janine, you want to, I see you back there, you want to address that?
I'd say that the community was successful in 2015 in having that name retired for the area, and it's taken time to implement that in the mapping, but we definitely appreciate when our elected officials reflect that we have a unified naming down.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think they have their name first, right there.
My name is Karen. I live in this community.
Please speak
I'm
up.
sorry. My name is Karen. I live in this community.
Hi, Karen.
And I was a little bit concerned, you know, you've been a new candidate and I see the way this being scheduled, this race. And I'd like to know, like, how are you getting this money to spend, this type of money in this race? And then a newcomer.
Okay. So, we have a lot of people who looked around the community and they're not happy with the community. So I have a lot of support from various sources that would like to see change, the change that we deserve in our community. So that's where I'm getting the money from.
But in our community, I don't think the sources that you speak of have the type of money to invest in your campaign and what we're seeing out here. They don't have that type of money.
How much money have I spent? How much
You know
money have I?
what? We know a lot about it, and I've been out here for a long time campaigning and working in campaign. And I can see from your literature, there's an awful lot of money being spent.
Yes, it is.
And I
It
think
is.
it's not being spent by us.
But you know what? We've also spent a lot of time accepting what people have given us. And I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to understand that if I'm willing to work hard, I deserve to have excellence. And a lot of people feel that way. So I receive contributions from everywhere.
Now, you said that, you know, we accept, I'm not one who accepts anything from anyone. And I don't just sit around and do nothing in my community. Whatever is out there, I work very hard in my community. So when I see the type of things that you're speaking of, I know that this is not our community that is putting their money out there. So I have to reverse that and say to you, who is it that don't look like us that's giving the money to your campaign?
Well, the filings are definitely public record. So you're more than welcome to look at the filings. But like I said, we are getting contributions from a lot of places.
Could you explain to us and tell us your voting record in Nassau County? How many times have you voted in Nassau County?
I voted in the last 3 presidential elections.
In Nassau County?
Yes, in Nassau County, because I was a Democrat before, but then I was inactive. So I voted a couple of times as a Democrat, and then I checked no party or there was a blank, and then I voted that way as well in the general election.
So it wasn't a mistake that they made when your registration appeared blank?
Yeah, it
You
was a
said you
mistake.
checked blank.
It was a mistake. I don't think anything was checked. I haven't seen it since I did it.
You
So.
just said you checked.
I'm sorry, I don't believe anything was checked, so I was a blank. I haven't looked at the card since I reinstated my Nassau County voter registration.
So you voted 4, 5, or 6, or 7 times?
3 times in Nassau County.
3 times?
Yes, I was away at school.
I would like to ask you questions.
Please stand up.
I would like to ask you a question in regards to the education here in Uniondale. You've stated that you attended Uniondale High and you graduated from Hofstra
Yes.
University. And pardon my ignorance, but I don't know how long you have actually been in the community. But my question, if you can answer this, Uniondale School District is now noted as needy, poor, and Hispanic. And let me say this, I am not trying to say anything in regards to Hispanics. I'm not prejudiced. But being in this community for over, well, not over, but almost 30 years, my son attended Uniondale schools too. He graduated from Nassau, from Hofstra, from New York Institute of Technology. Now, I know, because I'm very active and I try to attend various civic meetings, that the quality, the standard here in Uniondale School District has fallen. We have a $158 million budget. The first time it went down, $2 million, it was turned down. The second time it was put up, some schools didn't have ballots to vote on in the morning. Some schools, there were ballots that were given out at the door, and yet the party wasn't checked off. So the question to you is, what issues do you see in Uniondale School District that you want to, that you can basically share with us? The goals that you wish to work towards. The school classrooms in the basement and in the closets, okay? The roaches, the rats running around in the buildings. The overspending by the, superintendent, and the lack of a board to act on the behalf of this community. Noted, we have 2 new board members. 2 were replaced. But that still does not negate the fact that in over 11 years, this school has risen from here to there. And you can check the SAT results and the comparison in education, through SAT results. In this library today, there's a report stating the level of, academic standings. So, my question to you, what area are you focusing in on education? And I don't want to take up, I have other questions that I would like to ask, but I don't want to,
I'll give you a card, you can email me or call me.
But please address
Right now.
this.
Exactly.
Because, and I will just say this, that voting, it was, in my humble opinion, corrupt. And I have tried and I have written the school district in regards to it. What could you do at this point where we are in debt for a bond of 156 and $200 million, roughly $400 million on a poor, needy community where all the students qualify for free lunch?
Well, exactly what you stated is exactly why I decided that this community deserved to reap the benefits of their investment. The school district, Uniondale School District, when I attended it, was brilliant. I loved it. We had free driver's ed. We had teachers that were very engaged. We had lots of, just leaders. We were breeding leaders left and right. So when that didn't feel like the same situation when I returned, I knew that I had to do something. And
what did you notice when you returned that was so dire that it commanded you to run for an office?
Well, a lot of people were sending their children to private schools. And I asked them.
Did you do any research?
Yes. She's just really passionate.
I am.
Yes, I see you at the board meetings. I love your questions. So what I plan to do is be 100% transparent. The first plan of action, when I'm in office, will be to have a forensic accountant that works very closely with me. So we are able to look over these budgets. We are able to understand exactly where every dollar goes, and I'm able to make sure I communicate that information to my constituents. I feel like there is definitely a lack of transparency when it comes to money. Money comes down from someplace, but no one knows where it goes. You know, we have a lot of elected officials who will say, you know, I made sure this happened, I made sure this money came here. But we look around and our roads are still awful, our schools are declining. 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. So the way you get around that is to make sure that you have a forensic accountant on your team so we can see where all of our tax dollars are going. And that's how I plan to address that. Because the thing about money is when you follow it, you get all the answers, every answer. So I'm really excited to jump in, but I need you to vote for me so that I'm able to make that happen for you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, great.
We have another candidate, we need to give the other
Thank you, guys.
candidate some time.
I'm Earlene Cooper, and most of you know me because I've been working with you for a long time, and I'm delighted to be here tonight, again, for the candidates night. How much time do I have?
You have 3 minutes.
Well, then the 3 minutes, you know my
10
record.
seconds have gone by.
All right, let's be. This lady said that she's a Democrat. She's not a Democrat, and she is not eligible to vote for herself. She's asking you to do what she is not allowed to do. The truth is, she is not a Democrat, and only Democrats can vote in a primary election. So, excuse me, you cannot vote in this election. She's asking you to do what she cannot do. Secondly, there was no Democrat who was willing to run against me, because Uniondale knows the $500,000 that I gave to the center. Uniondale knows that when they flush their toilets, they know that I put $20 million there so that they can flush their toilets without having backup. Yes, Uniondale. That's Uniondale. I also want to make it clear that in order for someone to run who is not on a party, no, this person is not a Democrat, not a Republican, not a liberal, not a conservative, not a socialist, not a reform, nothing. That BLK doesn't stand for black, it stands for blank. And that way, this person cannot run. Not only that, there's so much going on. Follow the money is that's a good thing. I send money here, and the local issue, we don't know where the money goes.
Amen.
But that's local.
Amen.
However, I like to know, I cannot afford this kind of stuff. Twice a week, I like to know who outside of this district has such an interest in this district that they have spent almost $100,000 just on mailings and not telling the truth and taking selected information out of context to lie about my record. I'd like to know, where is this money coming from and who is funding it? Because whenever you are taking money from someone, they are asking for something in return. So if you're taking $100,000 for somebody, I'd like to know who it is, why it is, and how can you do that? Last but not least, I know my time is running out.
Go on.
Let me tell you, this election is so corrupt that there are people getting phone calls right now. I'm not going to say your name because I don't want to embarrass you in here. They're getting phone calls from people from the Board of Election, from a person who signed for this person to run illegally, telling them, we will assign you as an inspector if you promise to vote how you plan to vote. Now that is illegal. You cannot ask somebody how they plan to vote, and that's a trade-off for we will put you in a particular district if you plan to vote. There are people who out there who knocking on doors, and this is what they've been saying. Yeah, take this, but take it when you send it all. People have gone to doors and said, I don't want to do this, but the Board of Election is telling me I have to do it, and I have to knock on your door and tell you that I want you to vote for this person. The person cannot vote for herself and has never voted in a school board election, has never voted in a local election here. Has president? Yes, but not Democrat? No. Never voted here. And now all of a sudden, you're telling me, yes, the streets are lousy because I gave $100 million to the street. And let me let you know this too. Seniority means everything. Seniority means everything. You, a new member, you get a total of $37,500 for staff. And you get $50,000 for everything else. You don't get money to bring down here. I brought over, oh my God, how much money have I brought over? Open for questions. About $53 million. Yes. Your name, please, and where are you from?
I'm Marissa from 612 Decatur Street in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
All the way out here?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have some questions for you. Where can I go to find out about this $100,000 that's being spent on this election?
I don't know. Ask the people.
You don't know.
How can I know? All I know is I know what it costs to do this kind of stuff and get something every other day in the mail that is beautifully done. Now, if you don't understand that, then you find it outside. I don't know, but I've been doing this for years. We cannot afford this.
Why is your office always closed?
My office is not always closed.
Every single time I've gone there, every single time.
No.
I have gone to.
That's okay.
I have a recording.
Miss Williams, I got this. She asked me a question. You asked me.
Order!
You asked me a
It's
question.
order!
I'll
Stop
answer.
screaming, I can out-scream you, so stop screaming at people.
I'll answer your
Nice and
question.
polite, civil, please.
I'll answer your question. When my office is not accessible to you, it's because someone who is in that office is out in the district. And I am in Albany. From January to June, I'm in Albany. You don't go to Albany unless you go Sunday night to get all of that money that I bring down east. So that's why if you go there, but if you call and leave a message, 99.99 to 100%, you will get a return call.
I didn't, actually, to be totally honest, I did not. And.
Oh, I didn't get your name. I'm
I
sorry.
am Sydney Daniel.
From where?
Her
From
sister.
Kernigan Avenue.
From where?
Kernigan Avenue,
Okay.
Hempstead, New York. My other question is, Albany's not open 7 days a week. Why are you always there?
Because the money is there.
Isn't there one Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes, right. So, oh,
It's
yes.
on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because the money's
Oh,
always
wait a
there.
minute. Yes.
Don't sit here and challenge pillow talk.
May I
Don't
answer?
challenge pillow talk,
Wait a
please.
minute, I want to answer that.
question. Answer, because they don't know.
Yes, I don't.
On Sunday night,
175, continue.
on Saturday night, around 7, maybe to 9 o'clock, is when they sit in this room in the Capitol on the side, and that's when they divide up the money. I'm talking
Hello.
about billions on Sunday night. Now, when I'm there on Friday, that's because I'm getting ready to go over there to make sure that you get your fair share. Your street is Kernogan. How do you pronounce it? Kernogan?
Kenosha, tomato, continue.
You know what? You see how it's been paid? Because I gave the money for it to be paid, and when it was done, it wasn't done properly. It
Mr.
was done on a
Hall.
Friday, and
Talk
that
to Wayne
Saturday
Hall.
morning, one of the neighbors' car sunk. Why is it that I send $100 million here for streets, and we have potholes?
Wayne Hall.
So you never came and assessed it before you sent 100, was it one check of 100,000?
You see, that's her job.
That's not her job. Separation, honey. That's not her job.
Quiet.
May I answer?
People need knowledge.
You say, what did you say? Did I check the money?
Yes.
That's not her job.
When I sent the money to the village of Hempstead, under the late, or the former mayor, Wayne Hubble,
That lady is right.
I'm sorry, the
Be very
former
careful.
mayor.
Be very careful, yes.
Your future father-in-law.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When I sent the money here, I did not know that there was going to be
Corruption.
corruption. I didn't know that. So I just sent the money for streets. And the money was not done for streets. But my counsel has now taught me that when you do this $500,000 this year, in a couple of weeks, name the streets. And that way they can't sneak their money over to Weir Street. And that way, yeah, Weir Street was done. That was not one of the streets that we wanted.
Your in-laws.
Well, do you not think that
Where, that way, the streets that need it, I can designate. And if they don't do the streets that are designated in the allocation, then you can go to the Attorney General.
so you learned this after 30 years of being,
It took me 20 years to be the Deputy Speaker.
so it took you 30 years to realize you should name a street. So you
It-
gave how much money? And it did not get done.
No.
And you just learned, maybe I should name a street.
I did not know. Okay. Should I answer? She has one answer. She has one question. Should I answer?
I'll stop. No, we have to open the floor. I'll stop. I'm done. I'm done.
Bottom line is, one thing that was said here tonight, it was said before I got here, follow the money.
Yes.
And I send the money here.
Yes, yes.
Over $53 million here. Nassau Community College is still open because of me.
That's right.
Nassau Community College was closing. Stop and Shop is
It's
still
that school
open
district.
because of me.
How did you do it?
How did I do it? Nassau Medical Center was going to close because they were not in compliance with the federal guidelines as it related to OBGYN. Sorry for my passion. I apologize for yelling. I don't see what's funny when you're thinking about an OBGYN closing, surgical room, the only hospital in all of Nassau County for those who are uninsured, underinsured, and just insured. That's the only hospital. They had asbestos in the surgical room for OBGYN. And I took $25 million there. I think it was in the month of April or May in the spring. And now they can remain open. And anyone who works for the county right now, if you work for the county in the past, when NIFA is the oversight for the county, they would take the salaries of persons who work for the county and stop their promotions. I did legislations to prevent that. So anyone who works for the county now won't have to worry about losing their steps.
No wage freeze.
No wage freeze. And as for Stop and Shop, that is the only grocery store in Nassau County, in the village of Hempstead, that has in it a bank, a pharmacy, and everything else. And they were closing. And the mayor of Hempstead contacted my office and said, I don't know what to do. So I contacted the owners of Stop and Shop, which is located in Massachusetts. I talked to them 3 times on the telephone, 1 time in my Albany office. Then they came to my district office, and this is what they said. Based on what the Deputy Speaker has said and done, we are going to remain here indefinitely for this community, and we are not going to ask for tax relief.
Whoa.
Woo! Heavy. Heavy.
I beg your pardon?
They previously had gotten it and it had expired.
No, it was to expire in 2 years. It's called abatement.
And that is a nice store. Very well kept and wonderful people that work there.
Well, not only did the store remain open, but the jobs remained there.
That's what we want.
And when I say Nassau Community College, I didn't just save it for the students. There's got to be someone in here who knows someone who works there.
My cousin is a
It has to be someone in here who knows someone who has a child who goes there. And the school needed $50,000 so that they could be eligible for $3 million from the federal government. And they didn't have it. And that was one of the issues, that they were losing accreditation because of that issue. Within less than an hour, I gave them $150,000. And to this day, the college is open. But in this session, I gave $13 million to the
Nassau Community College. That was just one fund. And then I gave $500,000 for capital improvement. There was another fund. And then $125,000 for student activities. So it's not just about Nassau Community College. It's not just about the streets. And yes, everything has gone down in this community. In Hempstead, they say we have 37% graduation rate. But we have 4,000 undocumented homeless children in Hempstead School District. 4,000. 4,000. And we only received $10 million for the whole state for undocumented. And so I am in the process of doing the resolution that when we open our arms, because we are a very magnanimous community, we say come, but when we do, this time, I will be saying, spread it around. Amen. Not one child went into Garden City. The children who were in Levittown were told to come into Hempstead. And the Attorney General, the former Attorney General, put a lawsuit against the school district and told the school district, you have to take these children. Didn't ask me. Eric forgot to ask me.
But you're on the committee.
I'm not an Attorney General. I said the Attorney General. The Attorney General is separate from the State Education Department. I said the Attorney General didn't ask me.
But you should know what's going on.
The Attorney General.
Please.
We have an election coming up now.
We have other people who are.
Attorney General gave the school district an order. Yes?
This lady's been raising her hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
you-
I'm sorry, I can't
And then there.
understand. My name is Mita Meriday, and at first I wasn't going to speak. I was trying to be respectful of the fact that this was a Uniondale meeting, but you have people here from Brooklyn and Hempstead. I was born and raised in Roosevelt. The money that you got from my school district, and the fact I just saw on News 12 that field.
Yes, they have a nighttime turf field, yes.
I know the history, and you spoke to something that was very significant. The fact that once again, we're in a situation where we have two people of color running against each other. The divisive process is in the mix,
Yes.
and we know the situation. And for
Yes.
those who said they need to be schooled, you have nothing to do with the road condition, okay?
Amen.
So if you want to talk about the roads, all right, and those who know me know that I'm one of the few that sit at the county legislative meetings,
That's right.
okay? So if you want to talk about roads, talk to your legislator, okay?
Thank you.
You want to talk about code violations, talk to the town of Hempstead. If you want stuff that gets done, you need to have the seniority. My question would have been to the previous young lady, and I'm all about people running. I grew up in politics, okay, and I'm a third generation, and my great uncle was the first African-American supplier, vendor in Long Island. My people poured the concrete on half the roads you're rolling over.
All right.
So let me just speak to this, what this deputy speaker has done for this community. And if you all need to have something to say about it, September 4th, show up at the town of Hempstead.
September 13th.
I'm saying ahead of time, if you want to talk about the codes and all that kind of stuff, show up to the town of Hempstead, okay? Town board, show up at the county legislature, because she brings the money down here. And I have seen where the money has not gone into our community, and it's our fault for not being in the room.
That's right.
Speak to the seniority and the importance of the seniority, because I've seen the chaos that you've had to deal with in the state government in Albany and what you have done and what people need to do. Because having somebody new in the room, you will be in a closet in the basement with no funds, no resources. So speak to your seniority and what you need from your community residents
Thank you.
to move forward. And we're still gonna work on getting that armory in Freeport. That's for the veterans.
So
Thank
if
That's
she
where my
becomes
heart is.
lead, then we're.
That's where my heart is.
Please do not interrupt.
That doesn't make any sense.
You don't have
Don't
to
have
floor.
to
Like I
All
said, my
right.
question is speak to
Speak
your
to- all right.
importance of that seniority and what you need the community to do.
Seniority means that when the Prospect School District was struck by by lightning, I had the authority, and I have the authority to put $1 million there right now so they can get started. And I have more money than I can do because I'm the deputy speaker. But it takes at least 10 years to even get on a committee. You can't get on a committee. It took me 20 years to become the deputy speaker. It's a big difference. That's $1 million. Years ago, I gave $500,000 to the, what was it, here in Uniondale, the community center?
Community council.
The community.
John J. Burns.
Yes, John J. Burns, I gave $500,000, but I had been there over 15 years. And when you talk about seniority, I think about what I can do and what I shall do. You cannot even introduce a bill in the New York State Assembly unless the chair of the committee says, I shall allow you to do it. And there are people who don't even know, who've been there for 10, 12 years, that on Sunday night, go into that room, the door looks like the wall. I'm the only person of color there, and I'm the only woman. I'm the highest ranking woman in the New York State Legislature. Not the highest minority, the highest ranking woman. I sit where only 3 people can sit. The Deputy Speaker, Chair Ways and Means, and the Majority Leader who runs the floor. I am directly under the Speaker. So there's the Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Speaker, and Earlene Hooper.
All right. Amen.
And to put someone there who does not even know
Don't know how the game
the
is
difference
played.
between the Attorney General's office, the local districts, how money is divided, the difference between Sam and Cap and Marcaselli.
Jay Jacobs knows.
Jay Jacobs is the one who did this so that a non-Democrat who's running around saying, I am a Democrat candidate. You're not a Democrat.
They lie.
She's on the Democrat line.
They
She
lie.
is not, she can't vote for herself. She's asking us to do what she cannot do and has never voted in any election. Presidential amendment, no school board elections.
That's right.
No school board elections, yes.
That wasn't important enough.
Question, this is your, letter that came out, I got one at home. Message to the people, all of this money, which is taxpayer money coming back to these areas.
Yes. Yes,
And
you're
not
right.
Uniondale is not mentioned in here once. We
Uniondale.
have Stop and Shop, we have Nassau Community, the Medical Center, Streets, Freeport, Lakeview, East Meadow, Hempstead, Roosevelt, Hempstead, nothing for Uniondale.
Now, let me tell you about Uniondale. Let me tell you about Uniondale. Uniondale has asked me for $700 million.
And what have we received?
Because you have 4 elected officials. You have 3, a senator, you have 3 assembly persons, and so they have to give 1/4. I have right now, I can give you right now, 35, I think it's, how much is it, Judge Clark, 350,000?
Yeah, 300.
I can give you $350,000 right now. I can pledge $350,000 for your school district right now.
You gotta get the other
However,
You gotta have the other.
gotta get the
you
other straight.
cannot use the money until your senator and your 2 other assembly persons
Agreed.
agree to put their $350,000.
That's right.
So that's what, but now for Uniondale, I introduced Assembly Bill 111-154. Now this is what happens. In Uniondale, your real property taxes, like this. Your real property taxes, like this. And let's say,
Malvern.
let's, East Meadow,
Yeah,
okay? Their property taxes are like this. So what have I done for Uniondale? I've introduced taxes so that you, ma'am, don't have to pay.
Bring them up.
I'm making it equitable.
One thing I would like you to do is to make sure that nobody introduces any legislation to remove Roosevelt Field from the Uniondale School District. Roosevelt Field is Uniondale School
Yes, just a
District,
moment.
all the way up to,
The delegation.
I am the dean of the delegation of the Nassau County Democrats. And I'm the dean of the delegation of all of Long Island and Suffolk County. Now, if you're asking me to be what you might call the sheriff of those who are trying to do what is improper, that's local, ma'am.
That's right.
Yes. In all due respect, that's local. I'm going to bring your tax dollars back here. I am going to, and I have done it, and I shall continue to do it. But that's local.
So I don't have the authority to be the sheriff,
That's right.
but I can watch and make sure that
That's
your,
what I'm asking you to do.
I can watch, but I don't have the authority to tell them. Because if I had the authority to tell them, you would have had your $700,000 3 years, 2 years, how many years? 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
When I go to the program you have with the legislators, I think it's in the month of February. You know what I'm talking about, right? The school.
The school.
You know what to what I refer, right? At the Uniondale School, yes. I've always told them, get the 3 other people with me so I can give you the $350,000 now. In fact, Judge Flaw, tomorrow, let's do a letter to Uniondale School District, $350,000 contingent.
Right. We've done it before.
Contingent upon the difference that has to come.
A forensic audit.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
No. Speak up, Lorna.
You know, let me say.
I did a forensic audit, ma'am.
No.
I tried it, ma'am.
On Uniondale.
I tried to do a forensic audit and your state senator read it against it.
Can you, let me ask you this. Because if a forensic audit is done in Uniondale, the hamlet, where it has nothing but pockets of corruption, and they're all in association.
Ma'am, I'm telling you, I did it.
What? You did it, and then
The senator refused. See, we have a bicameral system.
Okay.
If I do it and the Senate doesn't do it, it doesn't go anywhere.
Then it would be the community that would have to.
That's what I'm
stand.
saying.
It
Yes.
would have to be
Yes,
the community.
that's-
I'm sorry.
Campannon's office is on Stewart Avenue in
Oh,
Garden City.
1600.
1600.
And you know, there's something else I want to touch on, because Lorna, you speak about corruption, you speak about corruption, but let me tell you something that I've seen. I've seen this very professionally done, expensive literature out there with my picture, with, I think it's Mangano, Skelos, with me in the middle. That is insinuating that I'm corrupt. And then they did it with Perry Pettis. Do you realize that that's defamation and that's untrue? I have never, ever, and I don't intend, look, I'm a black female. I know better. I'm not going to do anything that gets, I am not corrupt. And you've never heard anything about my corruption. So to continue to do that is untrue. And
She
yes,
doesn't know any better.
I beg your pardon?
She doesn't know any better.
All I'm saying is, what Jay Jacobs has set up is 2 women of color. One is not eligible, and one has put her hand in the pot of power. And when you put your hand in the pot of power and you get behind the plow, you can rest assured that they're going to come after you. Why would somebody spend almost $200,000 to get rid of little old me?
They want that power and control.
Because of the money, honey. Your sister told you, follow the money.
Million?
I said,
You just said 200 million?
no, I said, why would someone spend almost $200,000? I didn't say 200 million, no. If it's $1 million, I don't know, but I do know this. It's more than $34,000 that Jay Jacobs put in your treasury.
How long have you been collecting your pension?
Oh, may I answer that?
It's all if you wish to.
I have time to answer that? I worked in the state of New York City, when I was in high school, during the time that we had war on poverty. So I put in I think it was 40 some years, 38 years. But when you are at a certain level, you don't pay into the pension, your money goes back to the state. So for 8 years, even when I wasn't being paid my salary, when we didn't pass the budget,
for 8 years, I was paying into a pension that could not give me anything back. So I filed for my pension. But,
So you're getting your pension and salary.
oh yes, I get my salary
She's
too.
entitled to.
Oh yeah.
By law,
Please, no, I need,
somebody else have a question?
no, I want to answer. Please,
Done a long time ago.
please, wait a minute. Can I just say one last statement about this? If you receive a tax refund from the IRS, you're welcome to give it back to them, but I'm not. I gave back over 800, I think 80 times 10 is what?
8,500.
That's what I gave back over the 8 years that I worked. Yes, I worked. I worked 24/7. 24/7.
Kathleen has a question. I don't have a question. I have an argument that we have given this speaker an awful lot of time, and we are not a political organization. We are not really supposed to be listening to some of the rhetoric that I've been hearing. I think it's time that we gave the other young lady at least a time to rebuttal. And it's getting to be 8:30 and we have to be out of here in 15 minutes. Okay, I agree with that.
Okay.
And my name is Kathleen Liza. I'm a constituent, and but I'm also an officer of this organization, and I think that this is not exactly the way this should all take
Could
place.
she stand here with me? Could she stand here with me?
Let her have it.
Unless she wants to.
So, you said that it took you a while, or this will be the first year, the first session, where you'll make sure that any road repairs will explicitly state which streets.
If you want roads, go to who?
Your legislature.
I really think no, because we all have time to say.
Let her finish talking. This is why you don't get nothing done now. All
They don't want, this is
And-
going too far.
Wait, I just want to make this one statement. I'm done. I will leave. Okay, so you speak about my seniority, right? And I haven't done anything. I'm not qualified. I don't think you know anything that I've accomplished in life, right? But I do know that whenever I release funds, I always explicitly stated where those funds would go, and that I followed those funds to make sure that those funds went to the place they were allocated. Wait, I'm still speaking. If you said that you've been doing this for years, and you just thought to follow or list the streets that should be repaired so we can ensure that those funds are not going to any other streets, that's, to me, that's a huge disservice. No, I'm not done yet. That's a huge disservice. So I've never been in the assembly, but I already understand that one concept of following all the money that you send down. You just said that you're going to list the streets.
That's just for that.
When you are allocated funds, the funds are up to you where they go to a municipality. So in sending it to the municipality, we say this is Monticelli money for streets, and this is other money for streets, SAM money for streets. We do not outline that. That is not the way it works, ma'am. But this year, we now have the authority to put the streets in the legislature, which makes it a law. That's how it
Put
works.
it in the budget.
I sign on the budget. I'm one of the 5 signatories on the state budget. And believe me, no disrespect, it took me at least 15 years to figure out some of these things. It took me 20 years to become the deputy speaker. So it's no disrespect to you. It's no disrespect to you. No, I don't know you, and a lot of people say they don't know you. But they do know me, and yes, I've been here for 30 years. But based on what is out there, I was born before my mother and father met each other.
Okay, we have to,
Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your time. I look forward to the opportunity to serve you, and have a great night.